The Great War is here.
The Game of Thrones, Season 7 Preview and the Dwindling Draft Pool. https://cdn boxcdn.com/thumper/2m and qpqgv/0x/928/617/775/775/filters focal 390/235:538/383 format web/cdn boxcdn.com/upload/got_underscore image/55613521/got_7_h_20170 jpg. The Game of Thrones is back, and you can play along. Once again, we're partnering with fantasy sports site Fantasys, and using the rules written back in Season 5 by the original Thrones master Emily Yoshida. Please catch up. We've already drafted teams here at The Verge and we're ready to serve as counsel while you draw up your own plans for destroying your friends in an internet game. The reigning champs. When we left Westeros, the Starks were winning for the first time in several years, as Jon and Sansa, but mostly Sansa, had taken back Winterfell from the Boltons. Arya made it back to Westeros and did some forced cannibalism stuff to the Freys, and Bran Stark finally became relevant to the plot. Thanks to some salacious visions of the past. Will he manage to put 2 and 2 together and tell Jon Snow about his real parentage? How will that affect Jon's chances of sitting on the Iron Throne or marrying his Aunt Daenerys? Why would Jon end up leading the Seven Kingdoms when Sansa would be so much better at it? Jon is literally so bad at communicating his political philosophies that some guys murdered him one time out of general confusion. The state of Westeros. Setting that aside for a moment, we should acknowledge that the Starks are pretty much the only house in Westeros who are in a good place right now. It's a total mess, and as such, there are unlikely alliances coming together all over the place. Olenna Tyrell is in Dorne plotting against Cersei, Daenerys, Tyrion, and the Greyjoys are sailing to Westeros to plot against Cersei. Cersei and Jaime are making out and plotting against everyone. Littlefinger is rolling up in Winterfell to convince Sansa to plot against Jon. Please don't. And the other, scary Greyjoy is sailing to Meereen to be late to the party and expand his carbon footprint. We've been told winter is here, so prepare to go full zombie show. Most importantly, the White Walkers were forging alliances with all the people they'd killed, adding them to their rapidly growing zombie army. We've been told, by ruthless and ceaseless HBO promotional materials, that winter is here and it's a safe bet that the primary showdowns of the season will be around or beyond the wall. Going into the draft, and into Game of Thrones Endgame, the biggest question is which characters will make it up there to play a crucial part? And also who is even left alive at this point? I don't know if you recall, but Cersei did just blow up one of Westeros' primary landmarks with almost every named character in her city inside of it. The Departed. The High Sparrow and his Faith Militant are history, and we're short on Tyrells. The loss of Marjorie Tyrrell is especially poignant because the showrunners had the Queen of the Deep V and shoulder cutouts die in a turtleneck. We're short on Boltons, the majority of them eaten by dogs at one time or another throughout season 6. I can't say that I'll miss Ramsay, and if you can then I'm worried about you, but someone will certainly miss the 265 points he scored last season. We're also short on Martells and the Martell adjacent, following a coup in Dorne that does very little to course correct that careening plot, but did give us this great one-liner. We've also lost characters in Meereen and Braavos simply by moving all the action to Westeros. Sorry Jaqen, you creepy freak. To help, we've added some new Ironborn to the official Game of Thrones roster, as well as Winterfell's Maester Wolkan, and the Ironbank's Tycho Nestoris, but there's no way around it, too many people died and there's not enough to go around. This year, each team has been cut down from 6 players to 5, and that's just how it's going to be, until the teams are inevitably cut down even more by the cruelties of fate and HBO. I would caution you not to get emotional about it, but I see I don't need to do that for my co-workers as they've already hardened their hearts to the point where the beloved, dedicated, ruggedly handsome, walking corpse Jorah Mormont was a last-round draft pick. I teased slim pickings and we're flying blind. Some housekeeping. While Fantasy's Game of Thrones scoring system could not accommodate special teams this year, we here at The Verge are not afraid of doing a little simple addition by hand. We'll be tracking points for special teams manually for this column, so if you want to add them into your personal leagues with a little extra labor, go for it. On that note, we have some new special teams draft options, replacing the Faith Militant, RIP, the Faceless Men, left behind in Braavos as Arya makes her way home, the Sons of the Harpy, barbecued back in Meereen, and the Children of the Forest, finally blown off by Bran, who is finally not boring. Please give a silent internet welcome to the Brotherhood without banners, the Night's Watch, the Dothraki, the Royal Army, and the Whites, differentiated from White Walkers this year to avoid giving a ridiculous advantage for one team. Unfortunately, the Lord of Light was not drafted this season. I guess we lost our faith in him somewhere around season 5, episode 10. An added complication for this year's draft, nobody has any idea what the hell is going to happen. We're totally off book this year, and flying blind, which has leveled the playing field in some ways but also makes for an utter crapshoot of a draft. Without further ado, here are the official rosters of the 2017 The Game of Thrones.